Welcome to La Taverna Friuli podcast, the definitive podcast on the wines of Friuli Venezia Giulia. I'm your host, Wayne Young. Join me here each week for casual conversations with wine people and other characters from the undiscovered region of Friuli Venezia Giulia in northeastern Italy. Hey, Friuli wine fans, welcome to La Taverna podcast. Wayne Young here, welcome. Today I have a really interesting guest. Usually we have winemakers on here, but today I have a chef, Chef Fares Issa from RONCHI in Dolenja del Coglio, winner of a green Michelin star. We'll talk about that during the podcast. Fares is an extremely interesting and extremely nice human being. It was a pleasure sitting and talking to him about his life story, which is very, very particular. So I hope you enjoyed this first part of this conversation with Fares Issa from RONCHI in Dolenja del Coglio. What's the name of your daughter?
Syria.
Fantastic.
Because I don't think I'm gonna ever get back to live in Syria, and she's half Syrian, so I think the only thing is gonna just take from her half motherland is just the name, you know. So.
Okay.
And it's a nice name because it's a kind of a star that's Sirius,
Yes, there's a star called Syria.
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Syria. Sorry.
Oh, Syria. Okay. Congrats. And how old is she?
She's 8 months.
8 months.
8
okay.
months.
So yeah, you really are in the depths of no sleep and.
No, she's good. I'm very lucky that my girlfriend, she's a vet, and she used to do the weekend emergency in the clinic.
Oh, okay.
So she's used to wake up and just get back to sleep many, many times during the night. So I'm super lucky for that. So
really?
She's the one that's taking care of the baby during the night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and how does that sort of affect your work in the restaurant? Because you live at the restaurant, right?
I do live for the restaurant and for the wine yard that we have.
Exactly.
And that new project we're working on. So with the baby, something strange happened that now I know what I can cancel out of my schedule.
Okay. So it makes you prioritize.
Exactly. So I have too many things to do. Now I have no problem to cancel a few things. Maybe let's say 9 months ago, so 1 month because she was here, I was just struggling to finish everything I have in the to-do list I have.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know exactly what is important and what's not important.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, great. So you have a very long and very interesting story, Fares, and I'd love to hear more about it because you were not born into the restaurant business.
No.
You were not born into the wine business. So tell me a little bit about your origin story.
So I was born in Syria.
Hence the name Syria.
Yeah, Syria, in Aleppo. It was a lovely city. It's quite rich family that trained me, and I always use this verb, just train me and prepare me to be maybe an engineer or work in the industry of my grandfather and all this stuff.
What industry was that? Your grandfather?
What do you call it? Fabric.
Okay.
Fabric.
So textiles.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I've had my family was not some problems, and I decided to just get out of the country and get away from the family and the family problems. And I went to France.
When was this? How old were you?
I was 19 years old, so just after the high school, and I didn't know what to do. I was good in math and very good in physics, and I loved horseback riding. So I was working. I worked for about 1 year in Pau, so in the south of France, was just training horses for steeplechase and all this. Yeah,
was that something you did also at home?
I used to. I won the championship of horseback riding in obstacles jumping. What do you call it?
Oh yeah, it was like steeplechase.
Not steeplechase.
It's a different thing.
Yeah, just like the Olympic one.
Okay.
So I did for 3 years. I was 14, 15, and 16.
Wow.
145 centimeters in Syria. Okay, right? So I worked there for a while, and then my father moved to Italy, and he said, okay, if you want to live outside of Syria, you have to come to Italy. So I came to Italy. I didn't like it at all. I was too in Perugia, and I started studying the language in Università Stranieri. Lovely place, really lovely place. After that, I wanted to be a vet because I used to work with the horses.
Of course.
But the problem was I couldn't apply to the university because in Syria, I think it's like in these days, we do only 5, so 6 elementary school, 3 and 3. So they're 11. 11 years, but in Italy there are 12, I think. So 12. In Italy there are 13 or something like that. Anyway, so in Italy you have to study 1 extra year to get like the what do you call the bachelor in Italy?
Or your high school diploma.
Exactly.
Whatever,
so I needed an extra year to have the Italian high school. So I did that, and after that I tried the test. There's a kind of an exam to access to the university, and I couldn't make it. So I was very frustrated and pissed off. I said, okay, I'm gonna just switch, and I start studying engineering.
Engineering. Okay.
I moved to a city called.
Well, you said you were good in math,
exactly,
and you were good in physics, so
I
seems like a natural choice.
Then during my study, I used to work a little bit in a restaurant and just study and work because I absolutely didn't want to ask my parents for money because the family issues. I really wanted to be independent from anyone.
Okay.
So I started working and studying, and then the war started in Syria. And there I had to pick up a choice, either to study or to work.
Okay.
In that period, I was, thanks to the languages I speak, sorry, my English it's been a while since I'm not talking English, but
your English is perfect.
Even
Don't
better.
worry.
So a cooking school in Umbria, it's called Chef Academy. They called me as interpreter.
Okay.
Because I do speak French, English, Italian, and Arabic. They said, okay, for teachers that coming from outside of the nation, if you can help with a translator, as a translator, because it's difficult to find a translator that knows how to cook, because there are like terms that are specific for the cooking. So I said, okay, why not? And I worked there for 1 year. So I was translating for quite important chefs. And then I decided to study cooking because I saw it with my eyes that you can do something really interesting cooking,
So how did you get from engineering to cooking? It's very, very different.
I started just washing dishes and helping in the kitchen.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
In a restaurant?
In many restaurants.
So working your way through university.
Earning, I still €4 per hour. 4 euros per hour, okay? I've had a girlfriend, and when I bought her once, what do you call it, a camera.
Okay.
And it was 1 month of my salary, 630 euros. Okay.
Jeez, you spent a whole month's salary.
Exactly.
You must have really liked her.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to tell my Marta about this, but anyway.
Okay. It's just between you and me.
Exactly. And 2,000 people, maybe more. So after that, I started studying the kitchen, and I was very lucky that I've met lovely chefs that they just took me with them.
Mm-hmm.
New startups, when opening a new restaurant, so they called me to help, and slowly, step by step, my career just started growing.
So you started washing dishes, and then you worked up into the kitchen.
Exactly. Then
tell me about a time that sort of when you made that switch. Was there a chef who saw something in you, or did you go to the chef and say, "Hey, I'm looking to get into the kitchen and cook," or how did you make that flip?
I think I did something that people never. We always think about improving.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's easier to search for maybe lower level restaurant where you can do whatever you want and learn. Because, I think if you want to learn, you can study, but you have to just use your hands and,
do.
And doing stuff in important restaurant, it's difficult, okay? Because you have to work your way there. There are many good people there in Italy. There are a lot of lovely guys and well prepared that they want that job, and it's difficult to get there. But if you accept maybe a lower level restaurant, but you're a chef there. You know what I mean? So instead of fighting for a better place, you get a worse place, but with more freedom to do whatever you want. And there where you learn. And it just take you one time. Maybe you can just erase it from the CV. You know, you can just take it out because you're not proud of that restaurant.
But that's where you got all the
I do remember.
That's like the literal trenches, they call it.
Exactly. So I really remember I was working that cooking school, and I was trying the new techniques I learned in that restaurant where the clients, the customers, they were, I remember it was a very old club. They're about 70, 75 years old.
Okay.
So I was trying the new dishes and they were looking at me, what are you doing?
What the hell?
No, you know, but I could do whatever I could made mistake. I could learn, you know. And I think you learn more from making mistakes than doing things right.
Of course.
And then after 1 year, I just called back the chef, said, okay, you know, I was trying, if you have a new opportunity, I'm ready for this. So he called Maurizio Serva. He has 2 Michelin stars in Rivodutri. It's a lovely, really lovely place. So he took me with him in many restaurants, and also I went to. He used to make many. He's a consultant for a few restaurants. So he asked me for help, and you know, slowly, step by step.
What were some of the hardest lessons you learned, sort of working your way up through the kitchen?
When I moved to a city, because the owner of that restaurant, he was just trying. He called me maybe at least 3 times a week to please come to my restaurant, please come. And I moved there, worked for 6 months, and he paid me only once. So I worked for
6 months and got paid one.
And I took a new flat, new apartment, and I moved from the city to another one. And the fact is, I live by myself, and the idea that you made a wrong choice and you can count on no one but yourself. You say, and there is a phrase, they say, if you need a hand, you can find it at the end of your arm, you know. And it's really like this for me, you know, because if you made, as I had to just find just random job, I didn't like at all, but because I needed money, because I was working 6 months, paying the rent for 6 months, and you know,
not making any money.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So that was really, really tough.
Did you eventually get paid or no?
No, at all.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
No.
And was that a springboard to move on to something better?
That was a lesson that I learned to, you know, you can, you know, a job. It's very important, but you can have many jobs. So it's not that important to concentrate on one job. So it's very important to learn how to quit and when to quit. Good. You know, good. It's very, very important. Sometimes you fight battles that you already lost from the beginning. So you will spend a lot of energy for nothing. So you have to know when to quit.
Right. I just from my own personal experience, I had a job that I really, really enjoyed. And out of the blue, one day my boss walks up to me and said, "Today is your last day." And I was devastated. So it was Friday. Obviously, Friday's always going to be your last day. And so that Saturday, a friend of mine had a party. So I figured I would cheer myself up. I would go to this party, see some friends, have a few drinks, and try to drown my sorrows. And a friend of mine took me out in the backyard, and we had a beer or a glass of wine together. And he looked at me and he was like, "Wayne, I've been fired from a lot of jobs, a lot of jobs." And he says, "There's never been a time in my life when I've been fired from a job and I haven't been better off afterwards." So he's like, "Don't worry about that. You're going to be fine." And then after that, I started sort of on my whole sort of career path that brought me here to Italy. So, you know, that's why I was asking if that was something that a bad experience turns into a new opportunity.
Yep. You know, bad and good, you can just tell it after years. You know. So you pass 1-2 years, you look back, said, "Okay, that was bad, quite bad, maybe, but it was good because it brought me here." You know. But I think it's something we grow with. You know, I'm trying to avoid doing that with my baby. But when she's, for example, now she stood up on her feet,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, okay, bravo, okay. The fact is, I want her to be happy if she did something good for herself.
Okay.
You know, I think the satisfaction should come from yourself to yourself, not get trained since you're young to be happy only if someone superior, maybe a job, maybe a boss, maybe your father, maybe or your mother, or maybe your bigger brother,
Mm-hmm.
or a colleague that tell you, okay, you did a good job. Because sometimes living in this kind of, in these times, it's a bit difficult to expect something from other people. I can't find the right word for this because it's very important. We're trained to receive a good
Praise.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
life doesn't work this way.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we have to be careful with, right? We can't base our own self-worth on the praise we get from outside.
Exactly.
Was there a moment when you learned that lesson for yourself?
It takes me many experience. Like it happens and happened many times. And then one day I said, I think that's enough. I keep doing that mistake. But now I realize after maybe half an hour, oh, maybe I did it again, you know?
Okay.
And just, I think it's important to have time to think about what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way to improve.
So it's a lot of self-reflection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very, very important. Very important. Like work, study, do sport. They're all things that we do for our body, for our portfolio, for our, you know, but thinking and reflecting, it's something important for the soul. Okay. You know, in many, like, I'm not religious, but religion helps people during thousands of time because they were one day a week for the Christians where you just go there and reflect about what you did. And the Muslims and the Jews, all the same, you know?
Yes.
So now we produce, we work, we study, we do, but we never reflect.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something I think that we're coming back to, right? This whole idea of mindfulness, right? That we need that time to sort of spend with ourselves and not always be on our telephones, right? So just trying to look inward at the moment and appreciating the moment for the moment rather than what's coming next.
You know, you can act and you can react. So we normally in these days, I just realized that I always reacting to, like the clock.
Okay.
I wake up, then they call me and then I answer. I'm hungry, so I go and eat, you know, so just reacting to something.
Mm-hmm.
Acting is something different. It's something you just think and think and think. When you're ready, you do. Okay.
So continuing your voyage into the world of food, right? So
working restaurants, many restaurants.
Always in Italy?
In Italy, actually, yes, in Italy.
Okay.
I worked in Switzerland for a while, but it was not like I was not a chef there, you know, because at one point in my life, due to the fact that many restaurants, they were not good payer, I realized that it was very important to work, but it's very important to earn money because we work for money. Okay. So I combined the studies I did in engineering with the food, and I concentrate my energy to find like jobs that they needed both. So if you, for example, want to open a new restaurant, okay, to find someone even better than me cooking, you can find it. It's easy. Okay. I've told you, there are really too many talented people searching for a job. Okay. In Italy.
Okay.
But it's difficult to make a restaurant that it works, that it reaches that break-even point. So I did that for big companies, and I went to Switzerland working.
So were you like designing kitchens or
not
something?
Not only designing this, it's okay, I want to have a restaurant there. I said, why? What do you want to make? Who are your clients? What's your vision about that? And then you try to say, okay, you need how many people a day, how many customers today, how much they should spend. So what's the menu, what food you should buy, how you should conserve it, how much you can pay and how much you can't pay, you know. So all these things that every restaurant should make before starting a
And not a
restaurant.
lot of them do.
No one. Because sometimes people think, okay, I do something good at home, I can make a restaurant, you know. When you earn €1,000, you have to imagine that if you're good, between 40 and 50%, it's the salaries and the taxes for the employees. Then 30%, it's the food cost. If you're good, very good. Okay. What else? You have, you know, the electricity, the water, and whatever left, you have to share it for the taxes.
Of course.
Because that how it works, you know. So if you see €1,000, it's not money yours. There, you know, you have to take a lot of money out of that, and people, they just struggle for this, you know.
Wow.
They can't imagine it. I don't know, maybe they don't want to see it, but it's very important to know it before.
Yeah, I think people think that it's just like, oh, okay, well, you know, it's the 30-30-30 rule, and you know,
no. In Italy, no, it's not like this.
Yeah, it's much more expensive.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and especially with workers now. I don't know if you heard of now. No one can find people qualified for the restaurants.
Yeah.
Waiters, chefs, or whatever.
Impossible.
Because they were not paying them well for years and years. And during the COVID, people, they were at home. They were said, okay, you know, living, it's quite interesting. You know, it's nice.
Having a life is nice.
It's not bad, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, for this money, I'm not going to get back to this job. It's hard job. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, too many hours and, you know, so you have to pay people.
Yeah.
Right?
I think a lot of people during COVID, they because supermarkets were still open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So everybody still had to go shopping. So you would get a job as a cashier, or you would get a job working, who knows, in the meat department or something in a supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would say like, wow, I just did 8 hours. I got paid just as much as I would normally get paid. Right. And I didn't kill myself. I didn't work on Saturday. And maybe you work on a Saturday or Sunday, but maybe you work during the day. And everybody was just like, I'm not going back. I'm not going back to the restaurant business anymore because I was killing myself there. And look, I can do this and maybe make more money.
And that's the fact. So you work in the restaurant, maybe Michelin stars restaurant, for the glory.
Uh-huh.
And now the question is, the glory of who?
Exactly.
Is it yours, your boss, the owner of the restaurant, the custom? It's really strange. So after years, you just wait a second. There is no glory in this. Okay. It's absolutely no glory. So I want to take care of my life, of my project, of what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because passion, you lose passion with time. You need a new fuel to the passion.
Of course.
Otherwise, it will just end.
So I'm jumping a little bit ahead here, but I do want to ask you because it's fresh in my mind. Have you found a good work-life balance doing what you do now?
Oh, now absolutely.
Now absolutely. Okay, good.
Absolutely, because where I work, it's a lovely place. It had a lot of problems that during year we solved each single one of them. Mm-hmm. So I just can tell the story. It just they called me. I just talked to the owners because it's a long story, really, really long story. Anyway, I said, okay, I want to show you this place. We bought it many years ago, and we want to sell it. But it has
now we're talking about RONCHI
exactly.
Okay, so
exactly.
So just to take a step back again. So you spent how many years working around restaurants in Italy and Switzerland once?
Maybe 13 years, 14.
That long?
13 years, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then somehow, if I remember the story, through a work connection.
Exactly. So I was working near to Rome in this lovely restaurant.
Okay.
After getting back from Switzerland, and that I couldn't keep on going there because I was Syrian. Because, you know, with my Syrian ID, I couldn't keep working in Switzerland longer than this.
Okay.
Now I'm Italian citizenship. I've had the Italian citizenship, and I'm super happy for that after 14 years.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. So I went back to Italy. I was quite sad, and I found this restaurant. I was working there, and then the COVID came, and no restaurants anymore. So in the meanwhile, the war in Syria was getting worse and worse and worse. And I started helping also my family there. So my mom and my brother, they were just like, they needed also my economical help.
Okay.
So I couldn't just wait for, because I don't know if you remember during the COVID, no one knew anything. For how long it's going to take.
Exactly. If it was going to be 6 months or 6 years, who knew?
So I found a very interesting job, and I went to near Napoli. It's a place. It's called near to Caserta, actually. And I start making masks, for the COVID.
Oh.
So it's an old contact I had. Said, okay, we're searching for a production director because I was doing that for the food, and they needed that for the masks. And it was not very nice area near to Napoli, and no one wanted to go there, but I wanted to work. So I just said, no problem. Just took everything and I went there.
Wow.
In the meanwhile, we broke up with my ex-girlfriend, been together for 8 years. So I was working there for a while, and I realized that it's not my life because, it was something that I needed to do for a period. Then I called the owner of RONCHI, and we talked, and I came and visited them, and then they showed me RONCHI, and they told me, okay, we have this place and we want to sell it because we've had the place with a really long story, but now we want to sell it because no one is running the place, no one's making the wine, it's a very old vineyard. What if you just fix it up so you can sell it?
Okay.
You take a percentage of that. And see what will happen. Okay. I love Trieste, I love Friuli. I was there like a couple of times, and I said, okay, this region I would really love to live in.
Really?
You have a sea, you have a mountain. It's lovely region, really.
Do you remember the first time that you came to Friuli?
Yes,
and your impression? Where did you go the first time? Trieste?
No, it was Palmanova the first time.
Palmanova
and Pordenone.
Wow.
Yeah. It's because I was invited by the Yolanda Di Colò.
Of course.
And they
of
invited me to Palmanova, so I was traveling La Bassa Friulana. It was interesting. But the first time I came to Trieste, because if I don't know if you have ever noticed, Trieste has a wonderful entrance. So you're on the highway, and then one point the sea explodes in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's something unique. I don't know
coming
if you
down
remember,
what is it called, the Costiera there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you're just like, whoa.
So you're driving a regular high road, nothing special, and then one point you said, whoa, what is that? You have all the sea at the right, and then you have the city in front of you.
Yeah.
So I came, I saw the place. It was wonderful. It's I think October 2020. So with the beginning of the foliage, So, switching from industrial area near to Napoli, it's really horrible place where to live in, to the Collio with these colors, the Bordeaux, the yellow, the green. It was wonderful. Said, okay, I prepared a business plan, and he approved it, and then I just pick up everything I had, my dog, and I moved to Friuli.
Wow.
It was the end of 2020.
Of 2020.
Start 2021. So I said, okay, this place, we need to sell it. So we have 5 rooms. We have 1.5 hectares, 8 hectares of woods.
Okay.
And I had, what do you call it? Moleskine, the notebook.
Yeah. Okay. Moleskine. Yeah.
Moleskine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had one. I still have it, and I wrote down all the things that I think, the long-term plans that I needed to do for that place. I did everything within May 2022.
You finished everything within. Wow.
Exactly.
What were some of the things that were in that notebook?
Turning the whole thing into organic, including the woods, having the bees for the hive and the hives.
Okay.
The bees, switching the place to plastic-free.
Okay.
And making a very nice compost place to build a restaurant, to bring the electricity and to have the charging place for the cars.
Okay. And you managed to get all this done
all
in
of
like...
them. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
These, when you think, this is what happened. When you react, you will
It never happens.
Maybe it will happen, but without knowing it. You realize that, I did all that, but I didn't even realize. But if you take your time and think before planning, you know, sometimes, you know, as I told you when I entered, my daughter, you said, I plan and she laughs.
I know, I love that.
Okay. Life actually works this way sometimes, at least for me. You know? So I plan to do things, but I can't do it because maybe, I don't know, something happened and we were not able to do it. So building the restaurant, made the restaurant. Now we're also on the Michelin.
Okay, congratulations.
But with a green star. So it's not the red star, the green star, the one I really, really like more because sustainability.
Okay.
So that means all the goals that I put down on that notebook, they worked well. They brought us to the green star. So, you know.
Was that your plan?
No.
No.
It just happened because we were talking 2020. The Green Star had 2 years, maybe 1 year. It was something very new. So no, it's not my plan.
Wow.
I'm very happy to have that. Really, really. With the Michelin Star, I would have been a bit stressed, you know, because people in the last years they approached the Michelin Stars with some fear. Maybe it's too expensive.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
true.
The reputation
it's
now,
not true.
Though. Yeah.
It's absolutely not true. You eat very good there. It's actually more expensive. That's a fact. But I didn't want a place in the countryside that has a name, agriturismo, to seem too complicated. So the Green Star, it's perfect.
Okay.
It's really perfect.
Okay. Do you also have rooms where people can stay?
We have 5 rooms. We have 5 rooms. We have the restaurants with the vineyard. The what do you say? La sfida.
The challenge.
The challenge was, okay, the place is lovely. Okay, really, really nice looking. If you look at it, it's lovely. And people, they will get there because it's nice.
Right.
But since they're there, what they should do?
Exactly.
I was going to
ask you, what do you do?
So what we said, okay, we try to concentrate the whole area in one spot and give the people the idea that getting to RONCHI, they have the whole area in their hand. So I send an email to every single activity we have around us, said, okay, if you have maybe horseback riding, I will do the commercial for free on my website, on my social, but you have to take our guest.
Okay.
If they will come, they will pay for that, absolutely, you know.
So they get sort of priority.
Not kind of, just I will give you my clients. I'm not asking you anything.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Oh, okay.
You know, so because I can't have horses, I can't have bikes, I can't have all this stuff. I need too many people working there.
Okay.
So I just asked everyone doing anything interesting in the area, and I just invited them to RONCHI. I said, okay, I will give you all my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And we started this way. It was working very nice. And I became kind of like, you know, info point on the area. Then I realized that people come to Collio because they're actually interested in wine.
Mm-hmm.
So our project started. It's called Cerchio Rosso. And we really concentrated the whole area. So we sent emails. We asked help. We asked also the Consorzio Doc Collio.
Mm-hmm.
And we take every single bottle that has Collio. Okay, so if the producers come to us, we take the wine, we invite him there, we ask him an interview, we ask him the story of the place, we ask him many informations about the wine, about describing the wine, and about what to drink, what to eat with the wine.
Okay.
And we wrote that in, I think, very interesting, simple way to our clients. So when you get to our place, you have the idea that, okay, I not trying the bottle of that winery, I have the winery there. So on the menu, you see the picture of the winemaker, you see the picture of the wine, you have the description of the wine. And you have also the contact, the email, the phone number, the website, you know. So if you want to search for wine in the Collio, you can come to my place, and I'm not, taking you for me. I'm just sending you back
out into the region.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Before we get much deeper into wine, and I do want to talk more about that because you have some interesting ideas about how we communicate wine. But I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the style of the food that you do there? Obviously, sustainability is a big deal for you.
So actually, we buy ingredients only from farms.
Okay.
And if it's not a farm, like in Italy, it's SRL because of a choice, but the spirit of our suppliers, they should be farms or something small.
Okay.
Yolanda di Colò, we buy stuff from there, but because it's actually excellent, and we buy, for example, the goose speck, the goose salami, because they're really wonderful. They're a part of the Friuli tradition, of the Jewish Friuli tradition, because I don't know if you know, but in Venice, they were, in Rome, you have the biggest concentration of Jewish people in Italy, and then in Venice.
Yes.
And they don't, the kosher, they don't eat pork. So they make speck and salami and prosciutto out of goose. And in Friuli, it's something very traditional. And the Yolanda di Colò, I think it's one of the best doing this. So we buy it from them.
Okay.
Because, the idea is we have to concentrate the whole territory in one place. So farmers, and we just collect everything and we sell it. The cooking is transformation,
Of course.
We try to do less to preserve. It's very Italian style, I also worked for a while in France, which was really for a while. I love the French cuisine, but it's too complex for me,
Too complex.
Too complex. So, for example,
too many sauces, too much intense preparation.
You eat something, you say it's great, but I have no idea how it's made. Okay, and if it takes you a lot of time to make a good meat, why covering it? It's my philosophy.
Okay.
So Italian food, I think it's simple. It's very direct to the heart, as you say. So we conserve this kind of philosophy, and we try to not use anything that bothers the wine. For example, acidity, too much acid, artichoke.
Okay.
Because it's terrible with the wine. I think you know that.
Yeah.
What do you call liquirizia?
Licorice.
It's terrible with the wine. Chili. It's terrible with wine.
Yeah. Anything spicy.
Too much spice. Because
egg.
We can talk about that.
Yeah.
We can talk about that.
Yeah.
Egg is very interesting. If like boiled egg, no. If like omelette or fried egg, yeah, absolutely interesting. Since the egg yolk is liquid, you can do a lot about this.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
When it's boiled, hard boiled.
I just had that experience yesterday. Very typical plate in Friuli with the rendered pig fat and radicchio, and then the boiled egg killed the wine. I was like, oh. But yeah, it was a completely different wine experience.
I think it's also killed it because they cook the pork fat with wine or vinegar.
With vinegar, yes.
So
that doesn't help.
In that dish, you have the radicchio that even if it's the rosa, the gorizia, it should be a little bit bitter. So you have the acid and you have the egg. It's
it's a
terrible,
devastating plate for wine. Yeah, absolutely.
We also have this dish in the restaurant, but we modify it so it goes well with wine. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so no vinegar, no boiled egg.
Very, very soft vinegar. Like really, and I prefer, for example, apple vinegar, not wine vinegar.
Okay.
Because acido acetico, it could be, you could find it in the wine. And if you have it in the food, your brain feels that the acidity could come from the wine, and it's terrible. When the wine has acido acetico, it's terrible.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's it.
Hey, thank you for listening here at La Taverna. Make sure you follow us on all the socials, La Taverna Podcast on Instagram, La Taverna Friuli on Facebook. And if you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it'd be great if you'd leave us a nice 5-star rating. See you next week.